Hello traders, John at StockBookie.com. Today we're looking at the SPY, the IWM, the Qs, the DIA, the IYT, the USO, the UUP, and the GLD. We follow the daily, weekly, monthly timeframes. We use technical analysis here at StockBookie.com. So let's get right to the SPY daily chart. We are above this trend line once again. We did test the all-time highs almost. We're about 8 cents away. It did close below. I'm expecting possible a gap up over this area tomorrow. And let's just keep this show going. Why not on the light volume? Weekly chart shows a little different story. We were above the line. We did close below the line. We're back above it. Let's see where we close on Friday. Will we make new all-time highs going into Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? Only time will tell. So, but again, nothing wrong with the markets. Light volume, floating up, holiday season. What else can you ask for? IWM daily chart. What a run this thing had in the middle of the day, just straight up, didn't stop. Let's go to the 10-minute chart. I was doing some stuff today. I came back and I was like, what the heck is going on here? So they went for the all-time highs, popped through the double top, and boom, off we went. I want to see confirmation or possibly going to this 130, 135.88, 136 area. We had that in there for about a week and a half or so, and at this point, it could possibly go higher. Who knows? Weekly chart. Weekly chart, same thing. We had a great reversal last week on the weekly, and boom, right back up and above. It's just incredible how we could go have parabolic moves, barely a shallow pullback, and boom, we're going right back up into the all-time highs. It's pretty amazing, these markets when you have the central bankers and the Fed doing their thing, light volume, hype, CNBC. It just drives me crazy. So let's see, because I can't short up here, guys. Come on, we're at the all-time highs. Or how can you go long here at the all-time highs? Are we going to get another 20% move? I mean, come on. So let's go into the Qs. Qs, this one was the weak horse, where it's only 28 cents up. Telling a little bit of the story. We have an inside bar. We're below the MAs, the 20 and the 50, chopping around. Let's see if we can get above this and possibly make a run for the all-time highs again, or do we just set up in a bearish pattern for possible setting up for possible lower prices? There's not too much on this chart. 3 days sideways, nice retrace back up, but we'll see what happens tomorrow. We're up a little bit. We're up 5 cents after hours, so no big deal. The after hours markets are going to close. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. I'm sure, the Shanghai, I'm sure everything's going to rally overnight because we were a little bit green, and this is their time to shine, guys. Just light volume, get everything up, everybody on board, and then we're going to get a pullback. It's just a matter of when. Weekly chart. Same thing. We're actually, did we close right on? Yeah, we closed right on top of the 20 MA, inside bar, bearish pattern. Just need a couple more weeks of consolidation. I'd like to have 6 or 7 weeks going maybe into mid-January, but I don't know if we're going to get that or not. But we're going to see where we close on Friday. If we close above the 20 MA, then it's slightly more bullish. I want to see more follow-through and more volume. If we stay below it, then we'll just have to wait for pattern to see if this thing sets up. We go back to the daily again. Just want to show you one thing. We are riding this little trend line here, so if that cracks, probably expect us to go to double bottom again. Maybe a little bit lower. You do have the 200 moving average curling up, and you have a trend line. It's perfect. Let's just set it up with the trend line and the 200 MA. But, one step at a time, guys. Nice retrace up into this area. Let's see if the moving averages hold this thing down. Let's get into the DIA. The DIA, again, just floating up, kind of like the IWM when it was just kind of doing its thing. And the Qs, too, back a couple months ago. They were just kind of doing nothing, volume disappearing. You got a little bit of volume in this one here, but the candle didn't move too much. Not a big range that day, but then boom, right back to no volume, just floating up. We are above the MAs, just slightly bullish, and we are above this trend line as well. So only time will tell to see if this thing is making a rounded top here, or is it going to possibly 20 MAs hitting the price and then send this thing up higher? We'll know in the next week or so what's going on here. Weekly chart, not too much. It's only Tuesday. But again, we're getting some follow through, but on no volume, so that's suspect to me. But let's see if we keep this ball rolling. On Friday, I want to see a close. I'd like to see a close around 192.50, maybe 193, and then maybe more upside, but one day at a time. Again, no volume in the markets, and we're just floating up. And that's just how it is, guys. IWM, or no, the IYT, I mean. We already did this one, IYT. The IYT, we're going for that 165.40 area. If we pull this out a little bit, you're going to see that this is where the double top is starting, and then ultimately we have a little tail here right around 167.74, and it looks like we're going to make it. This was this bullish pattern we talked about. It played out. I was playing it to see if this pattern would fail, and then we'd end up going down, but honestly, looking at it now, we had a ton of support down here. That was the right play to play. And I just can't, when the markets aren't leading and everything's just kind of staying buoyant, I can't hop into these guys. This is one of those, let's get the best bang for the bucks. Let's take the IYT up, or the transports up. Let's take the Russell up, because those have been lagging. This is where these big institutional traders and hedge funds are going to get the most money. They're not going to go into the Qs at almost the all-time highs and get a buck or two. They're going to take the IYT, the transports, and take it from 144 to 164. Why not? Let's get 20 bucks out of it instead of 2 or 3 on the Qs. Or let's take the IWM from 115 to 135, another 20 bucks. You're not going to take the Dow when it's at 187 and take it up 20 points. You're going to take it up 5, 6, 7, which they did. It's just slow and steady. So as this one's going up, we're just adding shorts and getting ready for some possible downside in the near future. USO, let's look at the daily chart. I still like this reversal up here, and we're still inside this head and shoulder pattern here, so we got to keep an eye on this. Let's see, one day at a time. We did have a little bit of follow through, and let's see if we can come down and fill this gap, and then we'll take it from there. Or do we go sideways and possibly go into this trend line and maybe go down? As long as we stay below this trend line, the short's still on. If we get above it, then we'll add more shorts around the 11.79, and then around the $12, $12.50 area, gap fill up in here if it gets there. But so far, so good. We'll keep an eye on this. Yellen's coming out, like I said, next week, so who knows? This thing can go up, down, sideways, all around. It's really up to the lip service that they provide in the next week's action. So, weekly chart. Again, we're still above. I think we're still above the 20. Yep, we're still above the moving averages. We've talked about that. Hold on. Let's get this one in play. Oops. All right, there we go. So we're still, we're back above the MAs. We did come down, got it back up, rejected, and then boom, then more news came out straight up right into this high pivot area. Gap fill was up here, and that's where we're pulling back. So right now, on the weekly, let's see where we close. Will we close below the 250 retrace? Maybe get down here, but only time will tell. Maybe get back to the $11 area, but again, there's more lip service on this one as well. Every time it goes up, it's lip service, and all of a sudden the hype stops, fades. Then lip service, fades. Lip service, fades. Lip service, fades. That's like the scenario here. So maybe this time it's not. Maybe it does pop up higher, but we'll keep an eye on it. We do have a position in the SCO and the short the USO. So whatever. You know what? We'll just take it day by day and see what happens. Let's look at the UUP. UUP not doing too much. Daily chart, just a nice pullback into support, the 20 MA. See how we went up, 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 up. It's kind of one of those stocks, just like the IWM, just like Goldman Sachs. You go up too far, you need a pullback. You go up too far, you need a pullback. And these are shallow pullbacks too. I would have loved to have seen this thing pull back to here, but that's just not what these markets are doing. It's just pull back, go, and no pullback and just keep going. So we're going to keep an eye on this one. I'm still thinking, let's go to the weekly chart just to show you a couple of the areas. I'm still thinking, of course, the 2650 area, but then you have, let's go back a little more. You have 2650, you have 2683, the 2721, then ultimately got 29 bucks or 28.93. I don't know if it gets there. I just have the line in there. That's a pivot. I mean, maybe it gets up into this area, maybe 28 bucks, 28.50, but again, we're going to have to see what kind of pattern this develops on the daily, if we start moving up again or what happens. We got the Trump thing going on, the Trump trade, this, before it was a disaster, now it's great, and I look at CNBC online and everything, it's Trump this, Trump that, Trump this, Trump that. So I don't know, is that the next rally, to get everything going. But Trump's in, everything's great. So you got to watch out for that stuff, guys. But we do have a little tail here, inside bar. It did hit the bottom here and it bounced back up. So let's keep an eye on the weekly too. If the weekly starts coming up, fills this gap, gets above the $26 area, 26.12, then there's more possible upside for this one. If it doesn't, then we'll look for consolidation and a pattern, see if this one can move down. So right there with that, and then the GLD. GLD down 11 cents, kind of a pause. It's been coming down pretty good. But again, we thought for sure, this was a good bearish pattern. They did pop it up. We did get the gap window. We did never fill the gap up here. Kind of a head fake, kind of clicking, went down, went up, and then they slammed it on everybody. Little bearish pattern, down again, little bit bearish pattern, and here we are at the lows. Now we're below all the MAs. I still think we're going lower. We've been adding since 115, 112. I'd like to get somewhere in here around 105 to 107. So let's see what kind of a pattern this. Let's see what kind of pattern develops here, and then we'll take it from there. Right now, it's slightly bearish. So as long as this thing's consolidating sideways, this 20 MA is curling down. It definitely needs to get above this, above the 50 MA, above the 200 MA. Then maybe more upside. But right now, I'm thinking a little more downside to this one. Again, we had a nice retrace on this inside bar, and then that's when they started selling, coming back in. Still looking at the 108. You have a gap fill around 105. You have a gap fill around 101.49. I don't know if we'll get there, but it's going to be really, really interesting if it does. So again, we're adding slow and steady on this position of gold. I just don't want to miss it. Even if I'm in here with 500 shares and that's it, and we get a $20 move, that will be huge. If I'm in here with 300 shares, it's still a big move. If you only can afford 100 shares, then maybe you do 25 here, 25 right here. If you didn't start adding, 25 here, maybe 25 at 107. And if it gets down here, 102, you add the next 50. Now you're in at 100 shares at maybe 106. This thing moves up, gosh, $20. That's a great trade, guys. That's what we're trying to do here. Slow and steady, just banging out winners. Little scalping. We're doing some scalping action during the day. As long as we're winning on those, that the account adds up real quick, guys, when you do stuff like this. Believe me. So that was the GLD. What else? Did we look at everything? The DIA, the Qs. That's it for now, guys. We had a nice little sell-off on this. Like I said, we're going into next week with Janet Yellen. Anything's possible. If she doesn't raise the rates, I guess this rally could keep going on. So the short positions that we have, we might actually have to cover some of these. But again, each and every day we get a piece of the puzzle, and we just have to put it together and try to figure out which way these markets are going. That's how technical analysis is. So, all right, guys. Hey, thanks for watching my videos. Thanks for coming to my live streams. Follow me on StockTwits and Twitter, and subscribe to me on my YouTube channel. So, all right, guys, thanks a lot. Have a great evening, and God bless. See you on the charts.